So, Eric, have you heard about the 74-year-old woman who robbed a bank in Ohio?
No, I'm not.
Okay, her name is Ann Myers. She was arrested recently for robbing Aru Group Financial Credit Union Bank at gunpoint. The reason why a 74-year-old woman was robbing a bank is because she was scammed out of her life savings. So out of desperation, she decided, like, let me go ahead, rob a bank. It's all bad from here. She only got away with $500 in cash, and now she's facing 15 years in prison.
How much in life savings did she get scammed out of?
It didn't say.
Let's just put it into a hefty amount, because it takes a major desperation for somebody to actually do that.
I mean, at 74, I couldn't imagine being scammed out of all my money. Like, what do you do?
I mean, don't you also have like Social Security? But if it's a scam, you could also dispute it against the bank too if it's an actual true scam.
Depending on how long this has been going on.
I mean, it is very true.
Or she forked over all her financial information. Like, I wish the article would have stated like what actually happened,
like what
leading
type
up
of
to the scam to it. But these are becoming very like common these days, and you would think that people in this generation would be more wary of things. But here we are.
But we're talking about like a 74-year-old woman, so they could also be very easily scammed. That's why, like, whenever those like calls come in with those, like I said, I'm gonna put a big old red mark on me. Those Indian people call. They're calling and they're targeting mostly elderly people because they're the most vulnerable people that you can target, because they don't know if it's a fake or a scam or whatnot, unless they have been actually told about it. There were so many people that got scammed out of saying that their nephew, son-in-law, goddaughter, or whoever blood relative got into prison and they needed to have like $1,000 bond. There's many people that fell for that.
Well, we were almost going to cover that story about in Ohio once again. I guess there's something like scamming community in Ohio, or they're just targeting those residents. But remember, we never got around to the other podcast, but we were going to cover the story about the elderly man who killed the Uber driver. And this was all caused because he received the call that his relative in prison was going to be killed, and they were going to kill him if he didn't fork over some cash. And then they directed the Uber driver to come to his house to pick up a package, and then he pulled a gun out on her, started chasing her around her car. He shot her in the leg, and then he ended up shooting her 2 more times, and he killed her over the scam. It's something about Ohio, I guess. It's just,
I mean, it's just not Ohio. It's pretty much everywhere, though.
no, I mean, but
being the most targeted.
Yeah, like the two top stories about scamming as of recently, like, they're coming out of Ohio, and they're elderly people. But do you think she should serve the 15 years she's potentially facing, or do you think she should have to pay a fine?
I mean, at the end of the day, she held a gun up to somebody. That alone is worth jail time, no matter what. Because no matter what your age, if you point a loaded gun, or even if it's not loaded, if you point a gun at somebody, you're going to jail. Because to me, my personal opinion, guns are for self-defense, and you do not point it at anybody for any reason unless you are prepared to pull the trigger.
Right.
So, yeah, I get it. She's 74 years old, but at the same time, you actively threaten somebody's life by pointing a gun at them.
No, I agree. I can't argue with anything that you're saying.
And like I said, what if she had what if she had like Parkinson's and her hand shook and she accidentally shot somebody? So overall, she's still going to get the jail time she deserves. I mean, yeah, do I feel kind of little bit bad about her being scammed out of all of her money? Yeah, sure, just a tiny bit, but she didn't need to go to that length of actively threatening somebody's life for money, because at the end of the day, money ain't shit.
And I feel the same way about the elderly man who's out on bond that shot the Uber driver.
Even though he killed somebody, he's out on bond.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in that. I don't want to believe that shit happened.